Testing, testing. All right, well, we are live on Spreaker right now. I'm getting input levels, so apparently we are good to go.
Rock and roll. All right. Thump.
As the microphone falls. Hey, this is a very amateur production. What can I say?
It most certainly is.
Is your microphone's down by the charger, right?
I think so. Well, there's...
Well, I can see.
Isn't
I can
there
see
two?
Look at the little dude guy in the top
right.
left corner.
Yeah, there's
there.
input levels.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. So, just do a couple minutes of the whole pre-show banter.
Yeah, we should have went over that before we hit live.
Well, you know, we're learning on the fly. Funny because I have to do. I'm going to be podcasting with 6 other podcasters next Saturday night. So.
Figures you're trying to be a professional podcaster.
Well, you know, I'm representing the Nerfherder Council. There's a poster for it and everything.
Oh, okay.
It's a podcasting forum on the Classic Metal Show, apparently.
Oh, all right. Well, then it's fine then.
Until it devolves into ridiculous bullcrap. So,
all right. We've been on for a minute. Let's start the show.
All right, everybody ready?
Yeah, I've been ready.
AJ,
I am ready.
Okay. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. I am your host, JT. Back with me, as they always are, AJ and Steve.
Well, not always.
Okay, well, most of the time.
Yeah, about 92% of the time.
It's got to be higher than 92%.
Sure.
Do you want me to do the math, or do you want to go on with the show?
No, let's do the math. Let's just sit here in silence as AJ figures it out.
That would be absolutely riveting. Hey, man, can you bust out the calculator and find out exactly what percentage of the time...
Hold on, let me get my slide rule.
I have an abacus. Let's figure this out.
That goes along with that soundbite you were playing before the show. But, anyways, thanks for tuning in again. We're doing something kind of different tonight. We're trying out our Spreaker live page for the first time, seeing how that works. And hopefully it goes better than all the other things we've tried for a first time. Because usually it's a giant cluster, so let's hope this is not more of the same.
Well, we pay for live streaming, so let's give it a shot. Why not?
Right?
Right. Somebody will listen to it.
But fair
maybe.
warning, we're too cheap to pay for the full 3-hour live stream package, so the live listeners, you're only going to get 45 minutes before this thing cuts off. If you want more, send us money.
Yeah. Write a check, too.
Literally, we can't afford the hosting fees to get up to that package level.
So, before we get into tonight's topic, I had a real quick question. I don't want to dwell on it too much because we're a few weeks past. But I forgot to ask you guys when we recorded last, did you guys get any Star Wars stuff for Christmas?
Ah, the Star Wars Christmas question. I was hoping you were going to get onto this.
Well, I figured I got that gigantic, amazing Millennium Falcon, so I had to ask.
How is that going, by the way?
It's going good. I haven't been able to build in a week, but I got almost the entire base of it done.
I texted AJ a few days ago and with a picture, and I simply said at the bottom, I hate you for telling me about this website. Because there's so many things I want to buy on there now. I want that Super Star Destroyer. That thing is as big as this damn table, dude, and it's only $139 with shipping.
You're addicted to the Chinese Star Wieners Lego
Oh, God,
set.
yes. Give me dude, I don't even care. Give me minifigures with the little closed eyes. I don't care, dude. Those are amazing prices. Dude, that is so awesome, and I'm going to spend so much money on that website, it's not even funny.
That is going to be my vehicle for getting the old Star Destroyer Ultimate Collector Series. That thing is it's the same size as the Super Star Destroyer, but because it's a much taller design, it takes up even more room. It's totally impractical. I don't even know where I'd put that thing when I build it, but that's down the road.
Hang it from the ceiling with fishing with hooks from the ceiling and fishing line.
I could.
I thought about doing that with my Falcon.
Dude, they were smart enough on that one to build it so they give you a little scale Tantive 4 to go with it. And there's 2 mounting points. You can either post it off the side so you can get a good side-by-side size comparison, or you can clip it down from the docking bay where they actually capture the thing. So you could do that. You could have a Star Destroyer hanging above your ceiling there and have the Tantive 4 getting sucked in with the tractor beam held in place.
Or you could hang the Star Destroyer and then hang the Tantive 4 in front of it, and then have it like the Chase.
Oh, that'd be badass.
That Star Destroyer comes with a little Tantive 4 that's probably scale size to it, so it's
it is.
Exactly what it is,
2
yeah.
inches long. That's going to be the coolest little thing. And I do not have room for it, but I really don't care. I need to own it, though.
I told you, that's a slippery slope, because they put the Death Star 2 out with a scale Super Star Destroyer next to it, And then they put out the Super Star Destroyer with a scale Star Destroyer next to it. And then they put the Star Destroyer out with a scale Tantive 4 next to it. And you can also get the Tantive 4.
Okay, so before we get into Legos, because no one gives a crap about Legos but us.
I do.
So, what? All right, AJ, what did you get, Star Wars-wise?
I got Legos.
Let's get off of the Legos.
There it is. You got...
No, I got other stuff too.
Yeah.
My girlfriend knows me well. I got the
Legos.
Black Series, not the Death Trooper. She got me I think the Hover Tank Pilot. Or another Shore Trooper. No, Shore Trooper Captain. That's right.
Okay.
Shore Trooper Captain. And Death Trooper t-shirt, which was awesome. And then one Star Wars Lego set. I got the Krennic's Shuttle.
Oh, very cool.
Which is another ship that is too damn big to fit anywhere. Those wings are so huge. We can't, it doesn't fit on a bookshelf. It doesn't fit on top of anything, because if you fold the wings up, it's too tall. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with that thing, but it's cool because now I have a little Lego K2SO, and we're a Lego family, so we also got the Parisian restaurant from the modular building series of theirs, and right now Krennic is having a nice creme brulee, flanked by Death Troopers, who are
of course
having...
he has to be flanked by Death Troopers.
Yeah, who are having a fondue and Cherry's Jubilee. Little do they know that Bodhi Rook and Pow are chilling in the apartment upstairs.
Who's Pow?
That's the big mouth guy that was leading the troops on the shores at the Battle of Scarif, the alien dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who knew Death Troopers were so well refined?
Yeah.
Had such far-reaching tastes.
Right, they're dining at Ches Albert.
Ches.
It's the things you don't know, that they turned into the Empire, or the normal stormtroopers after that, after Rogue One and the Death Star plans.
They show the Death Troopers going home, and they've got Renaissance art on the walls and everything.
They were all
burning
refined
incense.
until those Death Star plans got taken.
Right. Now you are forgetting you're forgetting one thing: the luggage tag.
That is... Oh, yes, I'm sorry. She also capped it off with a couple stocking stuffers. I got a luggage tag with R2-D2 and C-3PO on it.
I have a Boba Fett one.
And a Stormtrooper lanyard. Both are celebration-specific items, because she knows, I got to travel, so let's get the luggage tag and the ticket lanyard.
Awesome. Steve, what did you get?
I got the awesome Stormtrooper bus that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I got Legos. I got the Han and the carbonite freezing chamber kit chilling over there, right on the top of the stack. Nice little kit, nice little build there.
Yeah, that Stormtrooper bust you got is really cool.
Yeah, that thing's awesome. I love that thing.
And solid.
Yeah, that thing,
it
it's
is
heavier than I thought it would be for something that's just like a head and torso.
And then I built myself my Lego Sandcrawler like a week ago as a present to myself. I've had it for like a year or two, but it was built, and then it went into a box, and then AJ built it, and then it went into a box, and then I built it again.
Every time I see that thing, in my head, it just goes bum 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 bum. Like I just hear that music.
All I actually just think about was it the Robot Chicken one when they did the Grey Poupon.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that's the first thing that pops into my head. That or Family Guy when they jumped it over the sand dune like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep. Probably the reason that those are the first things that come into your mind is because that's what happens to all three of us. With how much we quote Family Guy and Robot Chicken Star Wars episodes on this show, it's not surprising to be the first thing you think of.
I feel like we need to go back and watch the movies more, because at this point, those are so ingrained that we've now rewatched the spoofs so much that it's bad that the fake stuff comes into our mind ahead of the real films.
Right?
I'm going to get the chicken outfit with the Boba Fett helmet and stuff and see if I can get it 501st approved.
That's not too bad. Well, AJ, you just mentioned real films, which kind of leads into our topic for the night.
What are those?
Because we now have 2 Star Wars films that could be considered not real because they're not written by George Lucas. But they are real.
If you're a purist, I see.
Yes, if you're a purist.
Star Wars with an asterisk.
Actually, as long as before we get all the way into this, I got one more thing for show and tell. There's no showing because this is an audio podcast, but here. I am drinking, during tonight's show, a Java the Stout, put out by Jackie O's Brewery.
Java the Stout.
Dude, this can art is sweet. It's got Java riding a TIE fighter with a couple of beer cans open up in the air.
It really does look hilarious. I didn't notice the title when you showed it to me earlier. I didn't notice what it was called.
Yeah, my buddy Chris at work got this for me. He's like, "You got to have this for the podcast." And I was like, "Yes, I."
All the lasers going through there kind of looks like it's supposed to be a Slayer emblem or something up there too.
It's the cover of a death metal album.
I just love the thought of Darth Vader. Jabba stealing Darth Vader's TIE fighter,
going for a joyride while drinking beer.
Right, flying right through the middle of one of the fiercest firefights in Star Wars history. Like the Death Star's in the middle of blowing up. There's lasers everywhere, and he's just partying, like ripping on through with a couple of opens. He's got road pops.
Oh, true.
And the beer's actually pretty good.
I was going to ask, how is it?
It's a stout.
Ah, nice. Well,
so for you, it would taste like monkey butt.
Yeah, anything but Pilsner. Like that. But anyways, so what we wanted to bring to the table tonight was a discussion about Rogue One and Episode 7, The Force Awakens, because now that we have two films in the Star Wars canon that are not written, produced, directed by George Lucas, we're starting to see where the Star Wars universe is going after the sale to Disney. And I think there's a lot of positives to both movies, and I think there's also a lot that you can compare between the two. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to bring those two movies to the table and start talking about what they're getting right, in our opinion, what they could do better, what things like that. So, and I'll start it off by basically rehashing my opinion of Rogue One, which was easily summed up as, when I left the theater for Rogue One, I loved it, and I absolutely was so into it, and that was the feeling. I was so pumped up after Rogue One. That's what I wanted to feel after I got out of the theater from Episode 7, and I didn't have that feeling. And to this day, I'm having a hard time rewatching Episode 7. I do, but to me, and I know this is not a very popular opinion right now, but even though Episode 7 and Rogue One both have very good reviews among the fans, excellent reviews, really, Rogue One feels much more like a Star Wars movie to me than Episode 7 did. Episode 7, for whatever reason, still feels almost like a glorified EU novel. And I cannot get past the fact that after about the first 45 minutes of the movie, they kind of just, note for note, kind of rehash Episode 4. So, my preference between the movies is obviously Rogue One because it tells an original story. And I like that. When I go into a Star Wars movie, I want to see something new. And Episode 7 was blowing me back in my chair for the first 45 minutes. And then after that, I was like, but I've already seen this. So it kind of turned me off, whereas Rogue One was, keeping something going forward that was new and added to the canon. I don't think that Episode 7 added much except for characters because it didn't really tell an original story.
So as soon as they introduced Starkiller Base, that's pretty much where it went off the rails for you?
Yeah, I mean...
onto the rails, per
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I had a problem with that when I saw the promotion material. I was like, when it was basically announced that Starkiller Base was the new super weapon, I went, it's just a Death Star, just way, way, way bigger.
Yeah, and as soon as that line came up in the movie, I literally rolled my eyes in the theater.
Yeah.
Like, so it's another Death Star. No. Yeah. This is way bigger. Yeah. Oh my God! Come on.
Yeah, it's kind of the perfect description, though, isn't it? No, it's a lot bigger. Like,
I mean, really, like
then they almost made fun of it themselves when Han was like, "Yeah, but there's always a way to blow these things up." So
right.
Yeah, it was like the characters were in on the gag. It kind of, well, I hate to use the phrase, but it's totally apropos. Took me out of the movie.
Yeah. Well, and it's, to me it was all, I was laughing at that when it came up because I could just picture that being one of the discussions in the Disney story writers' room, like, okay, I got this idea for the new super weapon, okay? It's a planet that can blow up a whole bunch of other planets. Like, the Death Star can only blow up one planet, but this planet can blow up a bunch of planets. Well, isn't that just another Death Star? No, it's bigger. Like,
yeah.
So some guys in the room writing this down, like, oh, that's gold, man. I'm putting this in the movie. Like, that's the dialogue.
If you know your astronomy, you know that the Death Star was confused for a small moon, and the planet is way bigger.
Yeah, yeah, right. They're clarifying it and everything. See, that again, that's, one of the... I don't think it really added a lot to the saga, except for the new characters. Because, a perfect example is Rogue One. We all know they're going to get the Death Star plans. Okay, we've said before, it's kind of like Episode 3, where you know how the movie's going to turn out. They get the Death Star plans, but they explained away a couple plot threads and tied things together. Like, it's always been kind of weird, like the whole 2 meters wide, the exhaust port on the Death Star. Like, well, why would they have that? We can just blow it up with a single thing. And in Rogue One, they explained it was put there on purpose by the guy who designed it specifically so that it can be destroyed because he didn't want to do it. And that's cool. That's something original. It's a new idea, and now it doesn't make this, design flaw. It's not a design flaw. It's actually purposefully, willfully put there. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And sabotage.
Yeah. And Episode 7 didn't really have something like that. So, I don't know. I love Episode 7. To defend Episode 7, I will say that I think one of my top favorite Star Wars moments of all time, and it may be number one because I just can't stop. As much as I can't get through the whole movie a lot with Episode 7, I cannot stop rewatching that Millennium Falcon chase through the Graveyard of Giants on Jakku. That was awesome.
Yes.
The way they brought the Millennium Falcon back into the storyline was so original and so cool. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta say, aces to Disney for giving me at least 2 of my top 3 or 4 favorite Star Wars moments of all time in 2 movies. In the other 6 films, my top moment in all 6 of the original films is Vader and Luke fighting in Return of the Jedi.
Good choice.
The end battle after Vader finds out by basically reading Luke's mind that he has a sister, and then Luke loses his shit and goes off on him. That was my all-time favorite moment until Graveyard of Giants showed up. And then Rogue One has a couple, actually, but, the Vader scene at the end has to be up at the, at least top 3 all-time.
Number 1.
Yeah. I still can't believe our cousin doesn't like that. Literally
Can
every other...
we just get, a solid 90 minutes of nothing but that? I would kill for that. Yeah.
I'd pay to see it.
Episode 3.55. I don't care. Just give me
right?
Just give me something. Just make it straight to Netflix. I don't give a crap, dude. Just give me something to throw in there that's nothing but Vader just being an ass and just killing everything in existence.
That would sell tickets.
It would.
There'd be a bunch of fans that would complain, this is the dumbest thing. Why'd they do this? And then there'd be people like us going, "This is awesome." We would eat that up with a spoon, man.
It's just Vader with a GoPro. Just mauling rebels just left and right.
He's got a couple stormtroopers behind him with drones filming from up above to get the aerial angles and stuff like that.
I'd watch it.
I would too. Yeah,
that thing's filmed like a horrible Blair Witch Project.
That's... and that's the thing. We had Graveyard of Giants in Episode 7. We had the Vader scene in Rogue One. So, that's really cool. I just, again, I really wish Episode 7 had brought some original storytelling to the table. That's why I'm so excited for Episode 8, because I really hope that they kind of deviate from that. Instead of just kind of rehashing plot points from Empire, which unfortunately, something I read today says that it's kind of... They might be ripping off part of Empire, which will absolutely infuriate me, but...
Okay, I'll give the most non-spoilerish summary of what you told me before we went on the air. The thing that has you upset is that apparently there's scenes of Luke training Rey, which we knew was going to happen.
On Ahch-To. And I'm okay with that. I don't care if they're training, but to have the Jedi Master training the new, Padawan on this remote place where no one else knows, and it's powerful with the Force. We've seen that already. Why? I don't understand.
But how is this news today?
At the same point, if Rey just shows up, just she's been using Jedi powers for 50 years or something like that, people are going to get all pissed off that we weren't told a story of how she learned all that stuff.
Well,
so
but
it's like people are going to be pissed regardless.
You don't have to have it on Achto. Have it happen elsewhere, like they're going to find something, or they're traveling here or there, and they're doing.
They're just going to do it in the middle of Jakku with the First Order staring them down the whole time. Of course, they're going somewhere remote where nobody knows where they're at.
Look, man, you agree with me completely that Episode 7 was an Episode 4 ripoff, and you know damn well that if Luke and Rey stay on Achto and they're training, you are going to be in that theater with me going, "That's Luke and Yoda on Dagobah, man."
But I mean, it has to happen though. Like
not there.
Where else would they do it?
Okay, Rogue One proved that you can do it in any other location. You can change up the story. You don't have to do that.
Otherwise, what you're going to have is you're going to have a Rebels problem, which is in the heat of the moment, in the heat of battle, Ezra has to try something for the first time, and lo and behold, he succeeds every damn time.
No, you can have them. You can have Rey get trained, but it doesn't have to be on Achto. It doesn't have to rip off the Dagobah thing.
It's not like they're on Dagobah, you know. They're
okay, but it's not like Starkiller. It's not like because Episode 7 already pulled way too much from Episode 4. I don't want Episode 8 pulling from Episode 5.
But of course they would do it that way because the First Order doesn't know where they're at. So I mean, it's the perfect sense thing. Like they're not going to go somewhere where the First Order knows the rebels are hiding and do all this training.
Oh, I guess that's a good point. I'm so gun shy.
It is going to be somewhat of a ripoff, but I mean that's where we're left at the way 7 was left off.
I just don't like that the first thing that comes out about this movie is more ripping off of what already came.
And honestly, that's all low-hanging fruit anyways. People are pulling that out of their butts. I mean, we know damn well that Disney and Lucasfilms are not releasing anything except doing on their own terms, which will probably be in a couple of months at Celebration, maybe, and then leading up. So everything you hear now is pretty much just going to be people guesstimating at it anyways.
Yeah, Disney doesn't want anyone thinking Episode 8 yet. They want everyone to still be in Rogue One land right now.
Yes.
As well they should. I'm going to see it for a third time on Saturday, by the way.
Good, because I actually got some numbers here. I wanted to actually have some sort of like intelligent thing to add to this conversation, so I did a little bit of research. The box office currently
what show
stands...
do you think you're doing?
I know. I'm sorry. I was bored at work. What can I say?
Come on, man.
According to Box Office Mojo, the worldwide gross right now stands at nearly $919 million. Do you think this movie can hit $1 billion before it leaves the theaters?
Oh, it will. I think it's more than that, by the way, because I think I read it already hit $1 billion. Who knows? I mean, I thought I read that.
I mean, I didn't really think that it had a chance of hitting $1 billion, but when you figure that would still be a 50% drop-off from Force Awakens...
Well, you have to expect that.
But isn't that crazy, though? I mean, you want to slam Force Awakens, but the movie, a 50% drop-off would still result in $1 billion box office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at $2.2 billion or whatever Force Awakens is at the box office gross, I mean, that's number one of all time. And I did read on here, there's a lot of like side-by-side comparisons of the two movies as far as like different ways of comparing ticket sales. And it's in most of the categories, it's Force Awakens number one, Rogue One number two. Yep. Yeah. So even the half as successful movie is still more successful than any other movie.
Yeah. But that's my problem with Episode 7, and we've talked about this before, and we'll go into a little more detail about it now. But you know, the whole low-hanging fruit of, well, you know, they had to tell that story in Episode 7 to get the fans back into it. No, they didn't. They did all that business not because the reviews came out and said, oh, well, this is basically, like, you'll see the same story you saw in Episode 4. And people went, oh, I gotta see that. No, people went to the theater, one, because it's new Star Wars, and people want to see Star Wars, even the casual fans. And number two, when they heard Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, and Han Solo were in it, they want to see those characters. As soon as you had those characters, you could do something totally out of the box. And they didn't. Which is why I prefer Rogue One to Episode 7 so much. Because Rogue One did something different. And that's why if Episode 8 rips off Episode 5, I'm going to be pissed. Because Gareth Edwards proved that you can tell a new Star Wars story without George Lucas and make it original, make it tie into what we already know, and it's seamless. Episode 7 does not do that.
I completely disagree with you, by the way.
Go for
Okay.
it, Steve. Get him.
The casual fans needed what episode 7 was.
But they didn't know what they were getting. They
didn't-
didn't know the plot of the story. They went because it was Star Wars. How do you explain that box office? Again,
Because it was shoved down your throat for an entire year.
but what was shoved down your throat? The plot or the fact that it was new Star Wars with the characters they already knew?
All brand new characters. Everything that came out, every single thing that came out would have Poe, Rey, Kylo Ren, maybe a Chewbacca in it.
Then
but
why
it
did
was
they-
always the new characters.
Then why did they announce that Leia, Han, and Luke were in it?
Because they knew that it was going to get the rest of us.
Because they knew that would get all the people to come see
No,
it, the fringe fans.
No.
People like you and I would have gone to see it. All of us
we were going regardless. They didn't care about mine and your money whatsoever.
You're making my point for me.
No, I'm not. I'm
They
going
didn't
against
care about
yours.
us. They didn't care about us. They cared about the people they weren't going to get. So that's why they announced that the old characters were in there. That was the draw,
No,
not the
that
story.
that was to get everybody in.
Exactly. That's my point. So you actually kind of agree with me.
No, you're saying that they didn't need to tell that story. They absolutely did. They had to go to the lowest hanging fruit to get everybody on board again.
No, all they needed were those characters. But to rehash a story that's already been out there, they didn't need to do that.
Yeah, they did.
Why?
Because it's the easiest way to go about it. It was the quickest dollar that they could make on it, and that's what they wanted, was to hook you in and make sure that you were going to stay on the line for Rogue One and Episode 8. And
Right.
all. So if
That's
they would have went out and told some random ass story that everybody walked out of the theater talking about that thing was garbage, every fish just fell off the line. Which means nobody would have went to see Rogue One, nobody would have cared about Episode 8. No, the fact that thing made $1 billion shows that was the complete right story to tell. Because if that was garbage,
All right.
that whole thing would have fell apart a month into it.
All right.
It would have fell apart the first weekend after people like us walked out on Thursday talking about this is the worst Star Wars movie ever.
Well, it is the worst Star Wars movie ever already, but
Yeah, there is Episode 1.
no.
Or 2.
Episode 1 and 2 are better than Episode 7.
Wow, dude. Okay, that's huge, and we got to come back to that. But I want to stay on this whole thing of the story that Episode 7 told and what movie it needed to be. I get Steve's point.
I can from that perspective I can see it. To me, I don't think it was necessary.
And
You know,
I just
it
say
makes a lot of
that's-
sense, though.
That's just you. I just think you're coming not like as an argument thing. I just think we are biased in the way we look at it. We're not my daughter, who really could have cared less about anybody, old character or new, that came into that movie, other than Chewbacca. But she came in anyways because she knew I liked the movie, so she wanted to jump on board and instantly went, wow, I really like Rey, I like this, so she's hooked. She's on the line for Episode 8 because she likes Rey as a new character. She could care less about the story. It was just something that was handed to you because it was there, so
Yeah.
like I said, like it's bad to say that they didn't care about us, but like I said, I just think we're looking at it biased as opposed to. It's hard to put ourselves in the mind frame of somebody that didn't care about Episode 7 until the movie came out, because we were hyped up for a year previous to the movie. Easy.
Three years.
Say
Yeah.
a couple of years. Since,
What day was the sale announced when they said there's going to be a new trilogy?
Yeah, that was-
Our excitement started that day.
2012.
I was gonna say it was like 2012ish or something
Yeah.
like that. So
Yeah,
we were excited from day one from the sale, but how many people did they get out of that $1 billion they made that really didn't?
$2 billion.
Yeah,
$2 billion that they didn't care about it until the movie came out and everybody kept going, wow, this thing's awesome, and hype after the movie comes out. So
I guess that makes sense through the prism of the prequels, because they took a chance with Episode 1 and told a different story, which I love. And
right,
people
you can't
crapped on it.
hate on them for taking a shot.
yeah, people crapped on it, so I guess Disney might have looked at that and said, okay, well, when they did a new trilogy last time, they thought outside the box and people kind of crapped on it, so we're going to take the safe road. Hopefully, now that they've seen what success they can have based on Rogue One, now they know they can go off script and make it their own thing instead of just the whole paint by numbers.
And I feel like they're going to. I just think that, like AJ said, you have to show something Luke training Rey, or it makes no sense when she comes out and actually knows how to use that damn lightsaber next time instead of blindly poking it at Kylo Ren like she did in Episode 7.
That part I agree with. It's just the whole if it kind of mirrors the Yoda and Luke on Dagobah, that's going to piss me off.
And I would yeah, that's understandable. If you see bits and pieces, you might want to complain a little bit. But if you start to see a lot, like I said a couple weeks ago, that if they don't take a chance and you really start to see the copy again, like I have no argument anymore. It's just
Luke's feeding her dinner and she goes, "Oh, God, how can you stay on this island eating food like this?" Oh, come on!
Luke just dies in a bed, disappears underneath a little raggedy bed sheet.
Luke's just huffing around like, I can't teach her.
Tired.
She's got no patience.
Tired I am. Sleep I will.
Right?
It's like, damn it, Luke's speaking in tongues now. What the hell?
It's a totally original story. No, it's not. He's putting pronouns in front of verbs, damn it.
I just want him to get, like, possessed by, like, a dark side spirit and slip into his Joker voice.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? They just start combining franchises.
Right.
Yeah, no, I understand that you're going to see
at the beginning, after the Lucasfilm thing, you see a DC Comics logo, you're like, what the?
Yeah. Oh, shit. But, yeah, no, I understand we're going to see the training thing of it, and I'm fine with that. And, the little bits and pieces I've read, just from set pictures saying that they're together a lot. And, I've actually read that Luke is like the center of the movie, so which is really cool for me because that's going to be to see, the center of the old trilogies with the center of the new trilogy is going to be really cool for me.
I'm super excited about that because they screwed us out of Luke Skywalker in Episode 7. They better give us a ton of him in Episode 8 to make up for that.
Are you kidding?
That was great.
With that riveting line he had at the end of the movie and everything that just tied everything together and made you want to see Episode 8 that much more.
I have to say that when you go back and rewatch that...
Was that a deleted scene, Steve? I don't recall what that line was.
All it was sup.
Was it...
And there it is. That's an Easter egg for our show. But, no, I will say this, like, when you go back and rewatch that scene with Luke, I thought Mark Hamill did an awesome job. Like, I mean, he doesn't say anything, but on his face, like, you see a couple different emotions going through him. And I thought that was cool, because you're like, man, he's kind of upset, and then he's, like, kind of like, oh, no. Like, then he gets kind of sad. Like, it was cool, man. Like, you really see, like, this is going to be something big, so... That was really cool.
Then he's mad because his meals were only portioned out for one for the week, and now
all of his Weight Watcher meals, he's got to split them now.
It's like, shit, now I got to up my Blue Apron subscription.
But, no, yeah, I really hope that with Episode 8, they see the success of Rogue One and understand that they can start doing something different.
Yeah, the middle of December, when we leave that movie theater, you will hear a very dejected tone in my voice if they really do go and try to copy Episode 5 with that, because I'll literally have nothing. I've been going to bat for this thing for a year, and if they go and low-hanging fruit this thing again, and I don't know what the hell I'm going to say.
Yeah. I mean, and again, that's that's my criticism of the movie, is that it's the only Star Wars movie to not take chances. Now, that being said, I still think it's a great addition. I was so... It still feels the least Star Wars-ish to me of all 8 of the movies. And I've never quite been able to put my finger on it, but it just doesn't quite fit in with the other 7 movies as seamlessly as I would have liked. Rogue One fits... Rogue One is so unique because... It's totally different from the other movies, but fits in perfectly. It's the weirdest thing. But
maybe it's the fact that you're looking at it as the Episode 4 ripoff, or maybe it's the fact that it's a 30-year gap.
I don't know.
Rogue One, you can fit that thing as a real nice piece in between 2 movies.
Yeah.
You still got so much of a gap, though, between 6 and 7 that...
I think that's a lot of what it is. Remember, that's one of the reasons Episode 1 was so poorly received at first. It was because it was such a marked shift from the 3 films that we had previously. And this one, it wasn't a marked shift, obviously, but things are very different. You know, you're seeing these characters for the first time in 30 years, and it's jarring. I mean, they didn't try to make Harrison Ford look younger, or I mean, they basically let everybody like keep their own hair color. So it's not like, okay, Harrison Ford went gray, but Han Solo didn't. No, they're just like, okay, Han Solo went gray too.
Yeah, right.
Leia, light brown hair instead of dark brown hair, because guess what? Carrie Fisher's hair isn't dark brown anymore.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Man, they made Chewie look younger though.
They kind of did, yeah.
His hair was beautiful.
He uses Pantene.
But that is the best looking Chewie we've got yet. I mean,
yeah.
They actually gave him fingers.
Looked
finally.
like the hair was combed back and stuff. Like he was looking good, man.
In the 30 years since Jedi, Chewie's learned to use product.
Yeah.
Didn't they say that they kind of modeled him more after the episode 4 Chewie than... Because by episode 6, he almost had like a part down the middle. Like his hair was kind of flopping forward a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It is different, yeah. No, I think you're probably right about my feeling that it's the episode 4 ripoff, because my complaint has always been, and I said it earlier, that it feels like a glorified EU novel, and I always said that I could not get into the EU because it was someone's interpretation of Star Wars. It wasn't written by George Lucas, and it just felt like someone's like, well, this is how I would do Star Wars. And I think that's probably what it is, because it feels like J.J. Abrams was going, well, this is how I would have done episode 4, in a way. I mean, he wasn't consciously trying to rip off episode 4, obviously, him and Lawrence Kasdan, but, I mean, that probably is what it is.
But,
because it's the same events, just different, and I'm like, I don't need your interpretation, okay? I have episode 4, George Lucas wrote it, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for George Lucas, so don't give me this crap, give me your own thing.
And I get it, too, because even that night in the theater when we saw the premiere, I still had as much as I loved the movie, I still had my moments of, come on, you know, the damn planet splitting in half at the exact point between Rey and Kylo that's like, what, 6 inches between the two of them, and the planet happens to split there. You know, the Starkiller base to begin with. Just things like that I even sat there, I'm like really? Like, we're going there.
See, the ground splitting thing didn't really get me, because, I mean, I go into Star Wars I just suspend disbelief unless something's completely outlandish, and to me, the whole Starkiller base, like, that's the best you could come up with, was just a much bigger Death Star. You had all this time to come up with this, and that's what you got? Like, come on, man.
And then,
like,
you know, the running gag of Star Wars universe of hands getting chopped off. Now apparently it's the you just missed it with the lightsaber, because I mean they showed it in Rebels.
Yeah,
when Ahsoka hit Vader and it barely skimmed him, and just enough to rip the mask but leave his face in pristine condition.
Yeah, there were so many near misses in episode 7. Like, okay, Finn gets it to the back, but not enough to actually like paralyze him.
Just enough to screw the jacket.
Right, the jacket just tipped the shoulder. That's
just
it.
Just gonna piss off Poe, yeah. and then, you know, Rey, the one good swipe she has with that lightsaber, if she would have been 3 millimeters closer, Kylo runs a dead man. But no, now he's just got a cool scar on the side of his face.
Yeah. Now, to give some stuff that I thought it got right, and I think both movies got right.
Yeah, we're talking about which one feels more Star Wars. So let's try to figure out what the feels are that we're trying. So what are the good points of episode 7 that make it feel like Star Wars to you?
They both look incredible, and I do. I mean, see, the CG and all the green screen stuff in the prequels never bothered me, because that's what George Lucas does. He pushes the envelope, and he does these original things, and you expect that, you know, before a time of major galactic civil war, things are going to be different. They're going to look different. So the fact that it was all glossy and stuff, I didn't care.
Yeah, and you look at the time frame too. You got to watch episode 1 and remember it's 1999.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not 2016 or 2015 for episode 7.
Yeah.
And at the time, no one was complaining about the effects. They thought they were mind-blowing.
Exactly. Yeah, and 10 years from now, we'll go back and watch episode 7 and talk about how horrible the CG was in it, because it's going to be that much better then, too. So it is what it is. You gotta, like you said, suspend disbelief and just remember when these things came out, too.
Yeah.
That is something that is kind of a demerit on episode 7. I was thinking about that, because Star Wars always tries to, like, push the envelope of effects. And there was a great integration of physical and CG, and I know how much they pushed the physical effects in this one. Even pushing the physical effects, to me, felt like another throwback to the originals, instead of the forward-thinking ethos of the entire saga. Usually it's like, hey, here's this brand new thing that's never been done before, and instead of like, remember all the effects that you liked from the first 3 movies? We're doing that again.
Well,
yeah, they did advertise the crap out of that. That they said we're going to build everything we can build.
And there's more digital in 7 than anything else. That's the most digital of the 7 movies. To that point,
they actually pissed off fans with that finally because they were. I mean, even people that didn't like prequels. I saw a lot of stuff in the last few weeks or month or two leading up to the release of Episode 7 where fans, again, even ones that didn't like the prequels, going enough already because they were just going. It's not CG. There's not a lot of CG. It's real. It's real. They were really pounding the fact that it was different from the prequels, and people are like, enough
it's going to be
already.
on film, and it's not going to be digital, and it's going to be...
And then the behind-the-scenes stuff comes out, and every shot has something digital in it. Like that, I remember hearing a backlash then when the real making-of stuff started coming out, and they're like, wait a minute. Like, BB-8 is a prop, but then you've green-screened out the arms that keep him upright, and the guy pushing the trolley behind him, and... there's tons of CG in this thing.
I've never understood why people give a crap how much CG is anywhere. It's like, you're there to watch a movie and a story. Like, who gives a damn how it got there? Like,
Star Wars, of course there's CG.
Yeah. I don't understand why that matters. Like, I don't give a damn.
They put a
if the whole thing is
Shar-Pei in a
CG.
giant ball, and that's BB-8 running around the desert. Of course it's CG.
I mean, like, look at Avatar. Everyone loves Avatar, and that is, like, the most computerized stuff ever. And no one complains about that. They're just like, oh, it's a great movie.
It's the stigma of the prequels, dude, because those effects are not aging well. And it was,
I disagree.
And they overdid it with Episode 2 especially. I think the way they overdid it in Episode 2, by the way, because I was listening to some old shows of ours, the way they overdid it in Episode 2 was just that they tried to do too much with an immature technology. Episode 3 had just as much CG or maybe more, but it was 3 years better than the stuff in Episode 2. So I get that, but the I can't point to any one thing in Episode 7 that really pushes the envelope more than either the marriage of physical and CG effects or my stupid little nitpick thing of finally lightsabers cast light because they used lit objects on set. So, you know, because I picked this up in Episode 3 and it annoyed me, and it still annoys me to this day, that the digital characters are all lit up by their lightsabers because it's digital light, digital character, you can do that. But when it's a physical, like, actor on set, they didn't have a light source in their hands, so they are not lit up by the blade of their lightsaber.
Interesting. Yeah, excuse me, sorry about that. I actually never noticed that. But I mean,
sorry to ruin your favorite movie.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I've never understood why. I know it's the stigma of the prequels and stuff, but I mean, you know, who cares how they did it? It just looks awesome. I mean, it's fun to have a cool story like that on the screen. So who gives a damn how much CG is there? But I mean,
and why didn't anyone care about that being part of the hype for Rogue One? They did just as much hyping of, we built this and we got the cameras in there and built 360-degree sets, and those are latex masks, not CG aliens.
Well, I think that's, you know, to the point of what we're talking about is that now that there's two movies out there that are not written, created, directed by George Lucas, now we're starting to see what they're going to do, what they can do. Excuse me. And you know, we're starting to see where the Star Wars universe is going to go.
Well, now that we're getting fed a Star Wars movie every year, they're not going to pimp out all that stuff. It was pretty major, you know, with Episode 7 because they had nothing else to base it off of. But now that we're getting one every year, you know, it's going to be, you know, old hat to just keep saying every single year, we did the same thing we did the year before.
Right. Yeah, AJ, to your point of, you know, I mean, like, the Episode 7 didn't really push the envelope. I mean, that's where you see the lack of George Lucas. Because that was his hallmark. Was on top of trying to tell a cool story and keep the Star Wars saga moving forward, he was always pushing the boundaries of technology and creating new things. Whereas these people now are, you know, they're not interested in that. They're trying to just tell a cool story.
I still feel like ILM holds back the best of their work for Star Wars, though.
Good.
I mean, like I went and saw Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And those effects, the one thing that I would say as damning praise is that those movies blend very well with the Harry Potter films. Meaning the effects look like they're about 6 to 7 years old already. It wasn't nearly as seamless as what you saw in Force Awakens or Rogue One.
Well, to my original point from a few minutes ago, what I did like about Episode 7 was I thought the effects were great, and I really liked how it was original trilogy stuff using modern technology, and the way that they're making like TIE fighters and all that kind of stuff like look real. You know, like there's that scene of the TIE fighters coming in with the sun behind them, and it's like you could see like almost like the jet trails behind them, and it's